Often on this evolutionary pathway from whatever your current reality or current identity is to the point B, to the person or the version of you that you are becoming, there often comes a point where you will face the death. You will face the moment where you feel as though everything is dissolving, everything is collapsing, and you're put in positions where you are tested, not by the universe, not by external forces, but from your own inner being to help you to graduate from who you have been to who you are going to be. And the process can be deeply, deeply unpleasant, disorientating, but it's really important for you to have the tools to be able to navigate and to be able to alchemize and to move through those moments so that you can move to that new version of self. And we need to understand it as a form of death. We need to understand it as a form of letting go, whether, the question of what needs to die so that I can live. And so it could be old beliefs that are holding you back. It could be old emotions that have been stored. It could be old levels of consciousness. And I'm going through it. I've been going through it today. So I'll give you a real practical example where I'm being called into my expansive self from a place where I'm being forced to face the exact fear and to alchemize it in order for me to actually achieve the thing that I want to achieve. So there are four survival like four forms of archetypal survival consciousness that can be operating in us at any time. And this was brought to the world by Caroline Mace. It's a structure that many, many coaches use, and it's something that I use in The Maiden to the Queen and in other work that I do. So, one of those forms of consciousness is the victim. And the victim, when we're in the victim pattern, we are looking at situations um, from a place of blaming an external situation for our current reality. So for me, I had accepted a full year contract with it, but without signing a contract, but through a verbal agreement. Um, and that agreement was taken away on Friday and cut short. So rather than working until July, I'm now working until January, which put me in a position because in my mind, I had said, okay, I'm going to have this amount of income coming in consistently while I develop the Maiden to the Queen, build the retreat, and launch and do the podcast. So by the time July comes and I start pre-selling for the retreat, that's going to be in the September, I've already started to build my community, I've built my podcast, and I've had that time while I've had that financial resource coming in. And so now that's been taken away. And this brought up a huge amount for me, a lot of frustration, a lot of fear, and a lot of stories. A lot of stories to do with the past. And while I kept myself in that space of it's not fair, there's an injustice here. Um, why does this always happen? Why is this pattern always happening? I know to look at it from the perspective of what is the wisdom here to glean? What is it that I am being called into? So there was a conscious awareness of that, but that didn't take away the hold of the shadow. And so today there's been a lot of fear around an uncertainty, like how am I going to cover my rent in January? How am I going to um achieve the things that I want to achieve? And again, because I'm imprinting and living from the past and bringing that into this present moment, it's blocking me from being able to connect with my creativity and my higher self. And that perspective that says, well, there's a possibility here, there is a potential here for something greater, something better. And because I have the tools, I'm able to move through this. And I want to share this with you because this is something that I'll be delivering in my program. It will just be a short program to give you a taster of what it's like to work consciously with these shadow archetypes and how to alchemize and how to transmute when those deep feelings arise. And so what I've done today is the first step is we don't run away. We don't run away from the emotions. This is a really practical tool that you can use to alchemize on a very foundational level before we get into the subconscious recoding, before we get into the nervous system patterning work that I will take you through and provide you the tools to do in the mini archetypal survival pattern program. So we breathe, we feel, we allow ourselves to be present with the emotion. And once you've taken some time to breathe and be in that space, you can, once your system has allow that energy to move because obviously we know that energy, emotion is emotion, energy in motion, it just wants to move. Once we've given it the space to be felt and to be present, you can say, I am safe, and holding your thymus or hand on your heart, I am safe to feel these emotions. I'm safe to feel these emotions and these feelings. I'm safe to be with these emotions and these feelings. And by doing that, you're starting to bring your system into safety and you're starting to regulate yourself into safety. Once you've done that, it's about journaling it out. So in this step and in this process, you are allowing yourself to begin to see what the shadow consciousness and which voices are actually driving the show. So what stories, what fears, what beliefs are coming up? What is it really that we're attaching meaning to? And what doubts and what experiences are driving this moment? Because we think that life is happening in a linear way, past, present, and future. But really, life is happening simultaneously. And so what we need to be doing is bringing ourselves back into that present so that we can get to create from that future self who knows rather than being anxious by bringing the past into the present, past stories, emotions, doubts, or experiences, or feeling depressed and apathetic and lacking motivation because we are also, again, bringing in past experience and we're not living from the potential of what's possible, which is what happens when we start connecting with that future version self, the future self, and bringing it in to the present moment. So the next step, once you've allowed all these thoughts and feelings to come up, is you can ask what is true and what is not, so that you can begin to really unpack from a neutral and neutral place, the neutral observer, and start to see where you're attaching meaning and that are perhaps disempowering and not actually factual. Because when you actually look at fact, and fact is something that can't be argued, it can't be disputed, you begin to see that these things are irrational and not really true. So it means we can start working with that. It helps you to identify what the story is. And once you know the story, you can rewrite it and you can move and start moving into that future version. Now, once you've done that, you want to start filtering out the beliefs that are not serving you. And once we've done that, you can start creating new beliefs. Once you've done that, you can start to look with clear presence the amazing, beautiful things that you actually have in your life right now. And you can start tuning back into the frequency. So what we're doing, instead of what we're doing is we're moving out of spiraling down when something unexpected happens, and we're taking this process to alchemize it and to start spiraling back up. Because when we are dysregulated or when we're allowing external situations to dictate what we believe to be true or what we believe to be true about ourselves, and we start making that reality, we just start creating more of that reality. And ultimately, what you want to do is be sovereign. And you want to come back into your power and ask yourself, well, what is the wisdom? What is the wisdom I get to take away from this? And also, what is my current reality getting to show me as the mirror that I need to transform so that I can meet, so I can become that point B, which is exactly what's happening to me right now. And I know that. And this is this kind of work that I bring people through. This is the identity work that we do in a Divine Femme Collective. So finally, you want to start gathering the evidence of all the things that are good. And depending then on what you're aligning to, you can start to look at you'll start to notice the signs, the opportunities. You'll be present with the little nudges, guiding you into the right direction. So you're taking yourself out of the stream of, oh no, into the stream of flow. Let me know in the comments what your key takeaway is today from this and what you found the most useful. And if you are applying this in your life, and uh, and if you're interested in joining the archetypal program that I'm going to be launching, not the Maiden to the Queen, but how to work with our shadow consciousness and move them into their illuminated patterns or behaviors, let me know in the comments as well, and I'll get that information to you.